the youth distrust in the core political institution, that is national government, is the highest in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. This has been revealed at the Electoral Commission's research seminar. The seminar held at a hotel at the O.R Tambo International Airport on Wednesday discussed findings of a survey study conducted among voters to gauge their perceptions and intentions ahead of the 2024 general elections. Now, whilst distrust in the national government sat at 83% in KwaZulu-Natal and 80% in Gauteng, researchers say there is a silver lining. On this, we're now joined on video link by political analyst Bongani Mahlangu. Bongani, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, of course, we saw, following the local government of 2021 elections, it became clear, that election participation is declining, particularly amongst the youth of South Africa. Let's just get your, reaction then in terms of the latest findings that, the youth's distrust in the core political institutions, and that, of course, is the national government, is the highest in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal.
No, thank you very much. So those findings are consistent with other findings from other institutions. So they're consistent with other indicators as well. Like, for instance, there was a finding that was given earlier, I think several months ago, about confidence of the general population of South Africa on the government. And it was found to be around 40-something% with regards to confidence. And then when you then disaggregate it with regards to what was published and go to Gauteng, so you find that Gauteng would have, it's the most urbanized province in the country. So the youth there do have access to information, and they do know what the government should be doing and what it should not be doing. So they are well aware of what their democratic dividend must be. And then KZN similarly, even though it's less developed than Gauteng. So you'd also expect this from your Western Cape and also Eastern Cape. But Western Cape would not have much of a problem. Because if you look at the indicators of that province with regards to jobs, you find that it has the lowest unemployment in the country when you look at other indicators like access to healthcare and so forth and so on. So then the confidence there might be a bit higher than you would find in a province such as Gauteng. So you look at Gauteng and what is expected of Gauteng, but it's not happening. For instance, unemployment, access to services of the government, service delivery. Nothing much seems to be changing in Gauteng. Even if you go down to municipalities, especially the metro, you look at the metro like City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, which is currently dysfunctional. You look at City of Eguruleni, which does well when it comes to audit reports, where it gets clean audits year on year. But when you look at the actual services on the ground, they are very non-existent. And then if you also look at the youth in that metropolitan, you find that they find it difficult to enter or access economic opportunities and other opportunities in general. So when these numbers come, these numbers are very consistent with the reality of these people on the ground. And also these numbers are consistent with the voter participation surveys of previous years conducted by the IEC.
That would then, almost, explain this large gap between those that have registered to vote and the eligible voters. I mean, what can be done to close that gap? As we're going to the 2024 elections, we're told that, this is a watershed moment for the country, particularly in reference to the 1994 post-democratic elections. How can we then close this gap in terms of those who have registered to vote and those that are actually eligible to vote too?
All right. So closing the gap is not an activity that should start now in an electoral season, but it's something that should be ongoing. And there are also other entities that must play a leading role in closing the gap, such as the political organizations themselves. Because if you look at to the South African context, every time individuals in general, when they find it difficult to access services, find it difficult to penetrate the labor market or any other market, they tend to stay away from participation in such democratic processes. And then what then develops over time is that you find a negative relationship between voter apathy and democratic dividends. So as the dividends In fact, it's positive because as the dividends goes down, negative, apathy goes up. And that's not how it should be. So when people are dissatisfied, they stay away. And the staying away also is an indictment that other political alternatives to the political parties that are ruling within municipalities, in provinces, because we know 8 provinces belong to one political formation, and there's one provinces that is then an outlier. And also at a national level, where there is a single rule of one political organization, that means the other ones are not positioning themselves attractive to these people. So then when these people that are eligible but choose to stay away, that means they do not see the other ones as alternatives. And this has been proven by multiple literature that has been coming in and year out that seeks to look at such patterns. But also of keen interest as well, when you look at South Africa today, and this is something I've said numerous times, even on this platform, is that when you look at generationally, there is now what you called AMA 2000, and then there were the 90s generation, 80s generation, 70s generation. So there is a sliding scale of consciousness. So you find that the current generation is less conscious than the generation of the 90s, and the 90s was less conscious than those of the 80s and 70s, and so forth and so on. And how to even make a determination such as that? You look at what is being consumed, the pop culture, you look at institutions of culture, even media itself, and what is being displayed every day on media. It is not issues that speak to consciousness. I mean, if you look at dramas today, you have dramas that speak about things that do not speak to the realities of young people or anybody anymore. But if you go yesteryears, you have Abo Khululega. Khululega, during this time, voting season, they would, in their drama, in their soap, in their scripts, the characters would be preparing themselves for election. They would be talk about election, education about election, why we should vote, why we should not vote, what we should vote for, what they are dissatisfied with. And people would consume this as entertainment, but they would also learn from it. So it becomes then edutainment. But then if you look at 2023, you can just watch maybe leading soapies or productions on TV as compared by viewership. What is this? Skim Sami, for instance. I forgot their names because I don't watch them. But you'll find that they are not in electoral season now. So you ask yourself, what are they teaching the country? Why are they not attached or aware of what's taking place on the ground? Why are they so detached? Why are they so aloof? So those things contribute to the national consciousness, or they contribute to the national unconsciousness. And this unconsciousness then also find expression or demonstration or reflects with this voter apathy, more especially from certain groups of society. If you look at what was happening during the physical voter registration, there were so many gigs taking place around your awards and so forth, and that's where the attention was, especially the attention of young people, not necessarily about voting itself or this democratic exercise that seeks to direct the country on where it needs to go and how it needs to get there and who needs to get it there, which is the most important thing right now.